Hello and welcome to Run My Art Soft Pastel series. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to sketch some tree branches with dewdrops and a background with some bokeh effect. So bokeh is a blurred or out of focus part of an image, and since bokeh seems to be a famous effect on paintings these days, I thought of giving it a go. So the first color that I am using is a light brown shade, and if you are a Zenellia soft pastel user, I have indicated the color codes on the screen. So if you would notice on the finished painting on the top, I am just layering in the first colors just to create an impression of some background forest. So I am not going to worry too much about the details since this is a bokeh effect, but I am just observing the color coordination, just layering in those colors accordingly. So basically on the top right of the painting is where the source of light comes from, which is why I chose to paint it with a light blue. And as we move along, I'll be layering in more colors. And as for the bottom left, I assume there's going to be a rock or uneven ground with some moss or green leaves effect. Like I said, we're not going to bother too much about the details. And the middle part of the painting is where most of the tree trunks or tree branches are going to be lying on. So it's going to be mostly dark in tone. So done with the first layer blending, now I am just layering in some white to tone down those first layer colors. And at this point of time, I'm pretty sure you may be thinking, are we attempting to paint an abstract illustration? Well, I believe that's how most pastel painting kickstart, with lots of scribbles here and there, and you'll be amazed with the final painting. So quickly blending the white layers that I have applied earlier, and as soon as I started blending, you can notice the blurred vision or blurred effect. Moving on, I'm layering in a little of light yellow to give some brightness, as I notice some areas that are supposed to be brighter have become much darker due to the earlier blending process. Now adding on some navy to the areas that are supposed to appear much darker. And once again black layers as well to blend in with the navy. More white so that when I blend in, it will soften those hard edges. So I'm using a dark yellow to draw the outline of the dry leaf. Well, usually it will be better if you attempt to pre-sketch the light colored object, as in this yellow toned leaf, and then paint the surroundings which are darker. But since this is a very small size painting, I thought I'll just go in and work on the background first and then add the layers to make this to paint this leaf motif. So usually in watercolor painting we don't use this technique because watercolor pigments are way too light, and as for soft pastels, since they are quite opaque, so I was quite confident I could just draw the leaf on the dark background. So I am just layering in some color palette that I find is matching enough to create a dry leaf motif. I'm just going to keep blending that in, as well as drawing in the details. So if you prefer to make a brighter colored leaf motif, for example an orange or red, you can do so. Now I'm applying a hint of deep red just to create some color variation to give extra character to this leaf. So I chose black to draw the tree branches or twigs, since it is the main center of attraction or the main subject of the painting. So just randomly drawing those branches and twigs, no much fuss about it, and also a branch that is overlapping the leaf motif. And with the drawing of these twigs and leaf motif, you would have noticed that the background is already a blurred effect with all those blending we did earlier, and there's not much details to it as well. So this is how we achieve a bokeh. Right now I am lightly blending in those tree branch strokes that I did earlier. It seems to be a bit challenging though, as I said this is a very small size painting. So even if you use a blending stomp or a Q-tip, I'm afraid it might remove those pigment instead of blending it. So not to worry if you notice these pigments start staining your painting. It's not a big issue, as you can keep layering them towards the end of the painting process. So I'm using white as the main color for the dewdrops or water drops on the twigs, and just randomly placing down the dots of the white pastel. I'm also using the same white pastel to highlight some light areas on the twigs and branches as an effect of the sun rays or light source. Same process, but showing you at a different angle and a close-up view. Some extra scribbles to create an impression of light objects in the background, and a quick blend in of those scribbles to give it a softer look. Second color for the dewdrop, which is light green. There is no extensive blending here, just a tap with your finger would do. Also applying those light green on other areas of the painting. And once again, I'm using the deep red pastel to create an impression of winter berries in the background, creating an impression of the tree branches for the winter berries. So coming back to the leaf motif, I have decided to layer in more of the yellow light yellow to brighten up the leaf motif, especially towards the bottom of the leaf. Working more on the details of the leaf with the repetitive colors. For example, this dark brown. Using the same dark brown, I am just creating more distant objects in the background. Some dewdrops on the distant branch, as well as the twigs or branch at a nearer scope. Highlighting some areas on the twigs and tree branches. Extending the application of the light green pastel onto the dewdrops. And I must say I am satisfied with the look of the dewdrops. Now for some finishing touches of the leaf motif. So I am using a light orange or tangerine just to give it some extra character, and followed by a light brown shade which I have used earlier for the bokeh background of this painting. And since I have used a deep red earlier for this leaf, now I am applying a bright red just to enhance the color. Extending the light brown shade onto the twigs and branches as well. Creating more bokeh effect onto the foreground of the painting using the same light green shade. So it's done, but I have applied further some white pastel onto the background berries, as you can see onto this picture, which was missed from my video recording process. So my next soft pastel painting will be on water ripples. So if you have any questions, do drop it in the comment section below. And if you'd like to support my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit on the bell icon. And I'll see you all again on my next video. Bye.